Good evening. Thanks for coming out, everybody. We're going to start with the swearing in of newly elected officials. We'll start with Mr. Brian Monroe. Brian, would you please come up with your family? Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. We're going to start with Betsy Rowe. My apologies. Betsy, would you please come up with your family? And tonight we have Honorable Judge John Walton is going to swear in Betsy Rowe. You can come up too.
Okay.
You're good, Judge. Judge, we're going to get you the mic.
Should be on, so it works pretty good.
Okay.
I'm pretty loud, so you don't have to worry about me, okay? So I'll make sure.
We'll do it for the folks at home, Judge.
It's on. All right, so, listen, I want you to repeat after me if you could. I, your name,
Elizabeth Rowe,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the Commonwealth,
of the Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge my duties
and that I will discharge my duties
of office
of office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Betsy. Judge, good to see you again. Thank you. Okay, now we'll swear in our two new supervisors. First, we'll start with Mr. Brian Monroe. Brian, would you please come up with your family? And we have the Honorable Judge Dan Finello swearing in Mr. Monroe.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year, everybody. And it's a great way to start the new year, swearing in the two supervisors, two of my good friends. I know they'll do a great job. I think the adjective that describes Mr. Monroe, Brian, is perseverance. Okay, and I didn't want to spring this on him, so I showed him this picture that I have. He was in the Navy. And because the internet is such a great thing, I researched it, and I found that he was on the USS Theodore Roosevelt, which was an aircraft carrier, which, being a son of a naval veteran, I knew that because it's named after a president. And the Navy prepared him for many things. It prepared him, to be a police officer, an EMT, and to have a lot of perseverance, because this has been a long road for him to this board. And it's something he's wanted for quite a long time, and I'm so happy he's gotten it. And the perseverance best suited him for raising these two little beautiful girls he has. So I want to make a present of these pictures of Brian, although he probably has it. And if you can't see it, and on the deck of the aircraft carrier it says "Big Stick," because we know Teddy Roosevelt said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." Now, Brian, I don't know whether these guys will put up with a big stick. But they'll probably want you to speak soft. So, and that will be true leadership, and I congratulate you, and I'm so honored to swear you in.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, would you like to introduce your family?
Oh, sure. This is my wife, Natalie, and this is my daughter, Lily. She's 7. And this is my daughter, Anna, and she is 4. And soon to be 8, I'm sorry. A couple more days.
Okay. So let's get down to the business at hand. Supervisor-elect Monroe, you prepared to take the oath of office?
I am.
Okay, raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. I, Brian Monroe,
I, Brian Monroe,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear,
that I shall support, obey, and defend
shall support, obey, and
the
defend
Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I shall faithfully discharge
and I shall faithfully
the
discharge
duties of my office
the duties of my
as
office
a Warminster Supervisor
as a Warminster Supervisor
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, sir.
We don't want a photo, Bob. We don't want a photo, Bob. I like
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Now we're going to introduce Kathy Frescator. Please come up with your family.
As I said, I've known these people for a long time, and it's a great honor to swear them in. I use an adjective to describe Mr. Monroe, so I have one for Mrs. Frescator, too. And I think that would be tenacity. Okay, because I'll tell you a little story. You know, one good part of being the judge is you can only be involved in politics the year you run for election, but little birds tell you things. Okay? And a little bird came to me and said, you know this Mrs. Frescator? And I said, yeah, very nice woman. And she says, she's been at my door 4 times. So I said, well, I guess she wants your vote. But seriously, Kathy has been involved in a lot of charitable stuff, a lot of social stuff. She cares a lot about the community, been in the township a long time. She's been involved in a thing that's very dear to my heart, which is youth athletics. She was a coach, and you're probably one of the first women coaches, I'm pretty sure.
First female in baseball.
First female in baseball, okay? I didn't want to say that, I knew that because of the period she coached, but she just did. But it is indeed my honor to do it, and Kathy, your tenacity has paid off. So would you like to introduce your family?
Yes, my husband Bob. This is my husband Bob. We've been married 38 years. My daughter Leslie, my son Brad, my son Scott. Without their support, I wouldn't be here now. Thank you all for coming.
Okay, so left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Mrs. Frescator, are you prepared to take the oath of office?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please repeat after me. I, Catherine Frescator,
I, Catherine
do
Frescator,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I shall support, obey, and defend
that I should support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I shall faithfully discharge
and I should faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my
as
office
a Warminster Supervisor
as a Warminster Supervisor
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Let's get some pictures too. Let me stay out of pictures.
We'll take a quick picture of the board. Kathy brought, guys, if you want to come around.
Agenda items, we gotta go around.
Can I have a picture with the judge?
Real picture.
We do.
I think we're going to get a group picture.
Thank you. There you go.
Congratulations and Happy New Year, and thanks very much.
Absolutely, congratulations. Thank you. You're in the center, and then where are you sitting? All right, step over just this way. There you go. All right, arms in the side. And I just love saying this to people. Arms in your side. All right, turn just a bit this way, guys. Excellent. All right, stand straight up. That's just fun to do. All right, one more. Give me one more. Perfect.
Kathy, stand up.
The microphone's working now?
I think so.
I don't want to. Jim, it was good to see you again. Take care.
And now I'll call to order the reorganizational meeting of the Warminster Township Board of Supervisors. Ms. Frescatore, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a moment of silence for the men and women serving both home and abroad. Thank you. At this time, we'll take public comment on any agenda items only. Any comment from the public? Seeing none, we'll go into the election of the temporary chair. Mr. Wiesner, it says that as the chairman for 2015, I'll serve as the temporary chair. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so as a temporary chair, first order of business will be the election of the chair of Board of Supervisors for 2016. Are there any nominations for chairman of Board of Supervisors for 2016?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Mark McKee for chairman.
I second that.
Any other nominations? Is there a motion to close the nominations?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Nominations are closed. All in favor of Mr. McKee being the chairman of the Board of Supervisors for year 2016, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. McKee.
Thank you. Before we go on to the vice chair, I wanted to say something that I think Dan McPhillips deserves a round of applause. For 2 years, he has served as chairman and has worked tirelessly on behalf of the board and behalf of Warminster, and he deserves a round of applause for that. Moving on, we're going to go with the election of the vice chairman. Do I have a nomination for vice chairman?
I'd like to nominate Jason Crawley for vice chair.
And I will second that. Are there any other nominations? This time, I'd like to take a motion to close nominations.
Make that motion.
Mr. McPhillips. So I'll call the vote. All in favor of Jason Crowley for vice chairman?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 5-0. Congratulations, Jason. Next, we're going to move on to the appointment of officers. Is there a motion to appoint a township treasurer?
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chair, to appoint Brian Monroe, treasurer.
Is there a second?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, that's a 5-0. Next up is the assistant treasurer. Is there a motion to nominate an assistant treasurer?
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate Kathy Frescatore for assistant treasurer.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye, 5-0. Motion carries. Is there a motion to nominate a township secretary?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Dan McPhillips for township secretary.
Is there a second? Seeing no second, I will call that again. Is there a motion for a township secretary?
Is there a second for township
Is there a
secretary?
second for township? I asked for a second already, didn't get one. So I will call the motion again. Is there a motion to appoint the township secretary?
And I'll again make the motion to appoint Dan McPhillips as Township Secretary.
I'll second that.
Yep.
So I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
4-1. Township Secretary. Assistant Township Secretary. Is there a motion to appoint an assistant to the Township Secretary?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to appoint Steve Wiesner as the Assistant Township Secretary.
And is there a second?
I'll second that. Typically, the township manager serves as the assistant secretary,
Correct.
so I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Township Solicitor. Is there a motion to appoint Township Solicitor?
I'd like to nominate
Mike Savona.
Mike Savona for Township Solicitor.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Call the question. All in favor?
I'd like to have the discussion first about this. We're going to talk about Mike Savona being the solicitor. One of the things that the board should talk about and the public should know about the multiple conflicts that come with Mike Savona being our solicitor. Mike Savona.
That's not germane to the question. The question is, there's a motion on the floor to appoint Mike Savona, Township Solicitor. I'm calling the question.
There's a question, there's a second, now we're going to have discussion as a board. We're going to follow the Roberts Rules of Order, so now we're going to have discussion on whether Mike Savona should be solicitor or not. May I finish? As I was saying, Mike Savona, the question is, Mike Savona should be the solicitor. I think the real question we should talk about, again, is the multiple conflicts that come with that. Mr. Savona being, his law firm being Eastburn and Gray, to me, when I think about Eastburn and Gray, and nothing against them personally, it's that when you look at all the former properties from the school district, it's when you talk about the Leary project, when you talk about the Longstreth project, when you talk about the Newtown Road project, it's the projects right behind Centennial Station. They're all projects that the township wants to redevelop, but Eastburn and Gray is the attorney for all those projects. That's a big deal. That's collectively, those three projects will effectively change the landscape of Warminster, and our solicitor, Mike Savona, all due respect, has a conflict with that. Speaking of the school district, any time that the township has to have any kind of activity with the school district, again, there will be a conflict because Eastburn and Gray represents the Centennial School Districts. Those are all just residential concerns. The commercial concerns is that the board just looked at the Taco Bell property. Taco Bell, again, there's a conflict because Eastburn and Gray represents the Taco Bell project. My concern with Taco Bell is it's real close to a residential neighborhood. It's right on York Road, right down the street. And this board doesn't seem to have a lot of success when we're putting businesses right next to residential neighborhoods. Need I remind you about the Wawa fiasco that's going on that we're still dealing with? And Mike Savona at the time was, when the Wawa went in, the solicitor for the township. And the owner of the Wawa property was the attorney for the Wawa property. So there was a conflict there that we're still trying to deal with. I think that, yeah, Mr. McKee, we can get a conflict attorney, and that's fine. My question is that going to cost the taxpayer more money to get a conflict attorney this? And more importantly, I think that, is this really going to affect the integrity of the board if we have a solicitor that has so many conflicts with the projects that we're trying to get done in this township? I say, yeah, it is. I think the appropriate course for this board tonight would be to table the discussion on solicitor, send out proposals for solicitors, and try to get a solicitor that doesn't have so many conflicts within our township.
How many,
Further discussion from the board.
as far as I know, there's one conflict right now, correct?
There's conflicts with the Leary School project. There's conflict with the Longstreth
That
project.
application hasn't been filed.
The Leary is the only conflict at this point in time.
Who's the solicitor for the Longstreth?
I think we're going to get to that in a moment in regards to a conflict solicitor.
That would be Eastburn and Gray, would be that. County Builders, the
Okay.
attorney for County Builders is Eastburn and Gray, Mr. Monroe. I'm just pointing out, we don't want to go down that road. I advise that we don't go down that road. I think that, hey, we can talk about this, not talk about this, but why don't we see what the public says?
No,
Why don't
because
we have-
public comment for agenda items was at the beginning of the agenda here.
So we're going to take a vote for solicitor.
The only thing I will say is, you just mentioned the road. I don't like the road that this township has been going down, and in a bipartisan fashion, we're changing direction. And that's what I'm in favor for. This isn't a decision that's been made lightly. This is a decision I think we put a lot of time into, and I think that we need to move forward on this.
This is a decision that we put a lot of time into, making Mike Savona as a solicitor.
When we look at potential people, I mean, yeah, I mean, I had the letter for, how long have we had the letters now? For both law firms? I mean, yeah, I'd like to do my homework.
Did we put out a request for proposal for solicitors? Typically, would we put out a request for proposals? We didn't. We didn't put out. Okay, well,
have it in the past.
again, I would say, what do the people have to say about this? I think we should let the people weigh in
I think
when
we
we're
should
going to
call
bring in a
questions.
solicitor whose law firm has so many conflicts, and we're going to end up asking the residents to pay more in legal fees for that. They should have an opportunity to weigh in. Is there anyone in the public who would like to weigh in on this? Please come up.
I think, well, first of all, you're not the chairman, I am, for starters, number one.
Okay, so you don't. So you don't
Number
want
two,
to.
it is, was.
For some reason, you want me to stay in the chairman's seat. I don't know why.
There's a time for public comment at the end of the agenda
We didn't
here.
know who it was. But we don't know who it is, how can we comment?
Come on, in all due respect, Mr. McKee, this is a decision that the public should weigh in on.
The person was, so.
It would be the right thing for the township to have the public weigh in on it. You can choose to say no to the public. I think the public should.
Come on up.
Please, approach.
We would have spoken at the other time, but we
Your
did
name
not
and-
know.
name and
who was-
address, please.
You know my address. Okay, we didn't know who the solicitor was going to be. My only comment is that we worked with him with Wawa, and he was conflict of interest all the way down between Brando and Wawa, and that's why you are still hearing from us with Wawa 3 years later. And here is his testimony at the zoning board, which is a bunch of not truths. That's all I can say. And if you want to, I can go over pages with you and tell how he acted before. He's not going to be any different now. If we have a lot of businesses, have you interviewed other people for this position? Have you put it out?
No.
No?
No.
Well, then why don't we interview other people? Because if anything we bring up, he's all for Wawa and he's all for Brando, because after all, he owns the property that Wawa's leasing. So that's why we got Wawa through and why you have the problem today. And we still live it 3 years later. Actually started in 2011. So it's been going on all this time with problems, and you can't solve it. I think we got to get somebody that's fair and honest to be, and not a conflict person. And if you're going to get somebody in when we have conflicts, you'll have somebody here every meeting, because we have a conflict until everything is solved. And he even called, in here, it says, we're the cream of the crop. That's what he called our neighborhood, what we got from Wawa. Now, is that a good solicitor? No. I'm sorry, and I got it in writing on page 95 here, I can show you. And there's many other things that he got there. He went representing the township, and he gave all this stuff. And stuff he was telling, it wasn't really the truth. So why do we want him as a solicitor again? I think we should look around and see who's available and get somebody that is honest to the people of the township. And I don't care about political parties. You're all representing every one of us, regardless of what political party we are. So I don't ever want to hear from the supervisors or any of you a political party. It's you are now representing the residents of Warminster Township, no matter who we are. Is there a reason you can't look around and see about another solicitor that's available that could be not carry baggage?
The answer is no. There's no reason why we can't do that. There's no reason why we can't table this discussion, put out an RFP, a request for proposals, interview solicitors, and try to find one who doesn't have such a high volume of conflicts.
Yeah,
with the
he's got
projects that we're trying
7
to
or
do.
8. There might be even more that we don't even know about. And I'm sorry, but he's not a fair representative for anything for solicitor.
Well,
for
the
right now.
current solicitor that we have in the township has not resolved your situation, so it was time to change. to get somebody that can.
That I
And
agree.
the only, right, there was nothing done to help you in how many
But
years?
he created it. Let's start there. He created the problem. That's why we're bailing out. If he didn't,
Solicitor at the time.
he was the
But the one we
solicitor.
have now has done nothing to resolve your situation.
But this one created it and made it that way, and we wouldn't have it if he was really on the ball then. And even, he gave testimony at this thing, and we have it here, about how the ambulances would come in this back entrance and how you needed all this. And talked to the police, the chief of the ambulance corps, and I don't know if there was somebody here that had talked to them, and they said no way would they ever bypass the main entrances to go down another road and curve in and curve around, and they couldn't do it. They wouldn't do it that way.
How long would the appointment be for?
1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
A one-year appointment?
1 year.
I think we should put out bids. If you haven't asked for anybody else, I think you should look around, get people, interview them, and get somebody that's not coming with a ton of baggage. His baggage is bigger than Santa's bag.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. And also, to some of the people back here that were angry that I was coming up now, we didn't know who was going to be solicitor. And if we don't know who, how can we come up and comment about it when we don't know the person? So, anyway, I'd just like to ask you all to please look into someone that's fair and balanced and that will not carry all this baggage and be prejudiced for one thing, because we can tell you right now, he'll do nothing for Wawa. He did nothing before, except everything was 100%. Whatever they want, they got. There was no debate. We didn't have it as neighbors. And if you remember at the last meeting, I said to them, remember that gentleman that was here that one time sitting in, there was a man, and I said how nice he was explaining things? Well, that's what I was referring to how we got treated with Wawa and how this went. So there are different people out.
Thank you.
Okay.
Frank Feinberg, 525 Fisher Lane. I'm sorry, but I totally disagree. I think she has mischaracterized the whole situation. I was a supervisor at the time. Anyway, Mr. Savona, I do believe he served under us. It is a fair, honest, and one of the best solicitors I have ever seen. To another issue. Mr. McPhillips brings up the fact that I listened to exactly what you said, Dan. Eastburn and Gray is doing a lot of building and representatives of builders. Mr. Savona had joined that firm in recent years. And you also then mentioned that Eastburn and Gray is also the solicitor for the Centennial School District. So Eastburn and Gray is Centennial School District solicitor, and they're representing the developers. And that's okay, right? I really don't understand, what's okay here, what's not okay here, the apples and oranges. It is my understanding, and of course it would have to be verified, that there's only, I believe, one conflict at this point. There were other projects, I think, in the past, but they're all finished. And it's up to the Board of Supervisors to determine if they believe there is a conflict and then appoint a conflict engineer. And to me, it gives you the opportunity, if there is a specific conflict, to appoint a conflict engineer that has expertise in a specific area that the conflict is in, as opposed to appointing a general counsel.
Frank, I'm not questioning Mr. Savona's ability to be an attorney. I'm not questioning Eastburn and Gray as a good law firm, not a bad firm. I'm saying that there's too many conflicts. When we look
Well,
at
I'm challenging that there are too many conflicts. I don't think so.
What we know is that the Longstreth property, although they haven't filed an application, County Builders, their attorney is Eastburn and Gray. We know that.
And they're also solicitors for the school district who sold the property.
Yes.
I'm confused by your logic. I am confused by your logic.
So am I.
Okay.
I looked at the application very carefully. The only conflict that I found was the Leary School, because Longstreth has not applied yet. He, as far as I know from his reputation, he is honorable, that he will give you the truth, and he'd have our backs. And right now, our township needs to go in a direction as a team to turn it around. And I think it would be a great asset to have somebody of his integrity to serve as our solicitor.
Good evening. Anita Cook, 911 Otto Lane. So Mr. Savona was our township solicitor at one time, was he not?
Correct.
Why was he let go?
Mr. McKee cast deciding vote to let Mr. Savona go.
What was
I
the
don't
reason?
know. Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know why?
It was a couple of years ago. It doesn't involve conflicts. We wanted to go in a different direction at that time, just like I personally would like to go in a different direction this time.
And that's good, but you represent us, so.
You're correct, and so
Okay.
so
All
do
right,
these folks.
okay.
That's
And
right.
so I'm just trying to get my bearings here. And then we had Grimbean and Thatcher. Why are they not being considered?
Well, this is going to be decided by vote. You want my personal opinion?
No, I just
would
wanna
just
know
like to
what
go
the
in a
reason
different
is.
direction.
The different
So-
direction, so it has nothing to do with what they charge per hour or anything like that? Okay, so then Mr. Zavona's firm, which is a highly regarded firm in Bucks County and in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, does have a lot of high-volume customers, one of which is Christ Home, which I believe is the largest landowner in the township. I may be mistaken, but there's a lot going on with them. Yeah, they are. And at the time that Mr. Savona was our counsel, he brokered a deal behind closed doors between Grimbean, Eastburn and Gray was present, Mr. Ben Lubany, Christ Home, and the William Tennant House Association with Ms. Jarvis, a former township supervisor, to have the William Tennant House put in the William Tennant House Association name. And due to the Freedom of Information, I've obtained some emails, and I'd like to just share, even though he knew it wasn't a historic site, and I can give you copies of these emails, that he pushed for it to be done. Secondly, there's an email from Ms. Jarvis, and I mean, we can only say it's as honest as she is, but we'll just go that far. Yeah. So in her email, she said to Wendy Wersch from William Tennant House Association that she was tempering her earlier ire at Christ Home in the new spirit of cooperation that was evident on Thursday at their meeting. And no, this does not jeopardize our chances of getting the house. Christ Home was told point blank on Thursday, if they don't give it, the township, we will take it. Yes, we may have to write a check for it, but it will be a small check, said Mike Savona. And black eyes you will have in future dealings with the township will not heal. Frankly, you need us more than we need you. Please do not circulate these comments. Imagine that. Then she goes on to say about Christ Home, which is a good neighbor and has been a good neighbor in Warminster Township for many years. You are right to have a beef with Rich Smith and the Board of Trustees of Christ Home. They hide behind the cloak of, quote, doing God's work, unquote. Then arguably they are allowing to deteriorate Warminster Township's most secular bit of history. They have allowed it to get in the state it is in. It is why our solicitor has strongly suggested to them that along with the land and house, they donate $50,000 as a jump start to the Friends fundraising campaign. This is an orphanage, isn't it? We're like asking for money from an orphanage. You don't know what accommodations they have requested and gotten from the township in the last 3.75 years that I've been a supervisor. I, quite frankly, and it's my opinion, don't think that he has any right to represent me or my township again. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. At one point, actually 2 points, I sat where you sat. My name is Tom Panzer. I'm former township supervisor, and welcome to the board. I'm also a lawyer in Bucks County. Mike Savona is a colleague of mine. I've worked as co-counsel with Mike Savona. He has an outstanding reputation as a lawyer, and his law firm has an outstanding reputation. Here are a couple lawyers in his law firm, in the land use department of his law firm. John Van Louvenet, one of the big fish of land development in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Mark Jonas, another big fish in legal work, land development work in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Julie Von Spreckelson, Eric Tobin, and Mike Savona. They're all outstanding lawyers. But how many times in the recent past have Mark Jonas, Julie Von Spreckelson, Eric Tobin presented before the Warminster Township Board of Supervisors? Several. And the reason is they represent any number of commercial developers, including county builders, which, as other people have indicated, might be doing as many as 3 projects in the Township of Warminster. It was Mark Jonas who presented for the Hart School project. The William Tennant House project, Savona represented somebody on that. The John Van Louvenet represented or represents Centennial School District with regard to land use and land development matters. I think we all know how much trouble the Township of Warminster had with the land development at McDonald Elementary School. It was 2 years of non-stop problem development. Other people talked about the Wawa project. They're all fine lawyers, but you need a lawyer who's going to represent the Township of Warminster. If your lawyer and his law firm, because a conflict for the lawyer is a conflict for the law firm, if your lawyer and his law firm represent 7 different projects in the Township of Warminster, how in the world is he going to represent you? Every time one of those projects is being discussed, he's going to have to excuse himself. So you're all having a meeting in the back, and you have 7 agenda items, and 6 of them have nothing to do with land development, and 1 does. You're going to have to swap out lawyers midstream. It seems inefficient, and it seems to invite a problem. I don't know why you would invite a problem on your first night. So if, as some of you have indicated, Mike Savona only has 1 conflict, and he doesn't represent somebody who's presented an application for a special exception on Emerald Street, and his law firm doesn't represent the Taco Bell that's going in at the corner of Street and Jack's, if that's where it's going, York Road, wherever it's going. Maybe you already have this. Maybe you've asked them for a written list of all the projects which would represent a conflict so that you can determine whether you're willing to waive the conflict and whether his clients are willing to waive the conflict. I'm not even going to put you on the spot and ask you if you have that list, but I think best practices would
Mr. Penzo,
suggest
second.
you get the list.
Do we have that list?
I have discussed conflicts with Mr. Savona. I have.
Okay, excuse me, sorry.
So you haven't seen the
I don't
list.
know if the others have, because I have talked to him individually.
I haven't.
I'm aware of them.
You haven't seen the list. There's going to have to be a conflict waiver, and it seems like you're just inviting a sticky wicket. I don't know why you would do that to yourself on the first night, but thank you for hearing me out, and good luck with your meeting tonight.
And Tom, congratulations on being sworn in today as Bucks County Treasurer. He deserves a hand for that as well. Congratulations.
Thank you, and I'll stay for the next public comment to comment on that and the new members, but I just wanted to be heard on this one agenda item, so thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Matthew Pietrowski. I live at 217 Delmont Avenue. I probably have the most to lose here, but as a resident, I'm just going to spell it out. Mike Savona, and this isn't a personal vendetta against Mike Savona. I just want you to understand how Mike negotiates. And I can back this up with Mr. Thurn, who at the time was the zoning officer. I had a meeting with Mr. Thurn and Tom's boss at the time, and Mike Savona, about a property I owned on Maple Street. We were allowed to build townhouses there because Mr. Savona changed the zoning code and allowed townhouses, okay? Or helped change the zoning code. He thought it needed to be updated since 1962. When I said I was going to do that, he asked me to come to a meeting, and he told me that I was going to file for an appeal I lost my zoning case to get 5 singles. He brought me into a meeting with Tom, and Mr. Kruger at the time was there, and said to me, and this is a quote, "Matt, if you don't file an appeal in Doylestown, I am going to break your balls until you it takes so much time in lawyer bills, township engineering bills, and he asked me, what do you think you're going to pay in interest over the time?" And when I'm done, you can ask Mr. Thurn. He's in the room. Also, I own a property on Newtown Road in front of Majestic Oaks. When I purchased the property from Abington Hospital, Mark Jonas happens to be, I don't know if he still is, but happened to be on the board at Abington Hospital. Mark was representing the hospital, selling the property to me. Mr. Zavona, who was not at East Burnham Gray at the time, we needed to remove a deed restriction. And Mike said to me, "Matt, you're right. It's kind of a weird deed restriction. I just need to get it in front of the supervisors. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to hold you hostage because at the time the township was negotiating with Abington Hospital on some kind of taxes. I'm not sure exactly on their tax status. So for 2 years, that sat going nowhere. The month that he was out, the township took resolved the deed restriction issue. So there's he may be a great attorney, but do you want someone representing your township that strong arms people like that? Also, in plain words, you're going to put the fox watching the hen house. In backdoor sessions about like the Hart School, very close to your neighborhood and to your heart. I watched you sit up here when you wanted to fill, I guess, Tom's seat and talk about should be a garden and this and that. Well, there's the attorneys that represent the developer who now the solicitor is going to is one of their constituents. If you don't think that's morally wrong, then you shouldn't be sitting on the board. And I'm not one to question people's morals, but the fact that no RFPs.
You're questioning my morals in front of my family?
Well,
I appreciate that. I mean, the ink's not dry, and you're questioning my morals. The one thing I'm going to say is in reference to our conversation, so everyone knows he gave me a call and he was addressing a lot of these issues. One of the things that you had indicated to me, and I'll use your words.
That's fine.
You said this township has gotten the name for itself that it's a joke.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
said that it's a joke, and that because of the way things have been done. And you know what? And I agree with you. If that's the word, that's what people have been saying. One of the reasons why I ran was because I didn't like the way this township was going. There were these games that have been played now for the last several years, and I got sick and tired of seeing it as a citizen of this township. So I agree with you. But why are we in this predicament right now? It's because I don't like where we've been going for the last 2 years. We got elected. We have a bipartisan board now, and we decided that we don't like the road that we were going down. So we're changing directions. What I like, and I heard a lot of people, including Mr. Panzer, who said that outstanding attorneys. He said it 3 times until the very last word, then he said they're fine. Okay? Right. It sounds like a phenomenal law firm to me. It sounds like a fantastic and professional law firm. If there's conflicts, and this is good for 1 year, then we'll address it.
It'll be over in 1 year.
But let me tell you something, though. It's the whole reason why we're even going down this road is because of where we've been. And I will say this much. There were 2 solicitors put up for this, right? Is that correct? Is that a matter of public record?
Pardon me?
Is that a matter of public record?
Who
The
submitted?
the letters, who submitted
Yes,
them?
yes.
Okay, all right. So I was just wondering, obviously, there's quite a few people that came in here, so I'm just wondering, how did you all know about this? Did you looked into who submitted these letters? And because it smells like a game that I've been seeing played out in the last 2 years.
Well, actually, I had this conversation with Frank the other day.
One second, Mr. Monroe, you said that you're getting tired of this and it was time for a new direction. We got together and decided to change a solicitor. Who is we? Who's we?
Kathy and myself, number one.
Yeah.
All right. Am I allowed to talk to anybody else on this board? Right.
That's fine. That's a bipartisan
When
effort where.
Mr.
Let's take the
Savona
vote.
gave you the list.
I think,
I
well,
said,
When Mr. Savona gave you the list of conflicts, did he mention and it's public record, and then this is just, I guess in November they filed for a special exception on an undersized property on Nembrook Street? Oh, okay.
Our
And-
conflict
and-
counsel will handle it.
we represent all the residents of this township. The direction we've been going nowhere fast. So that's, Brian and I got elected, we decided to work with this board and choose somebody that we felt would represent our residents the very best they can. And Tom Panzer even said they're an excellent law firm. I think we should take a vote.
Outstanding
And
law
right,
firm.
outstanding. He used the word 3 times.
I don't think that's the only thing he said.
We appreciate your comments,
We
but
do.
I think it's time to call the question.
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor, and it's time to call the question.
RFP and you know it.
It's time to call the question. There's a motion on the floor. Mike Savona has been
I made the
nominated for
motion.
Township
I
Solicitor.
think we should
seconded.
table this discussion and put an
Proper
RFP.
procedure, Dennis Cook, 911 Auto Lane. Proper procedure, all you gotta do is go and Google any township. They sit and they interview law firms, they get the hourly rates, they get what their budget, legal budget was in the past, and whether they've overrun their budget and how many hours they've charged. And they interview a number of firms. They don't just sit up here and say, hey, let's put Mike Savona. You want to change things, you're going back to the same old guy, back to his hand puppet.
What is the need for Mike Savona?
Let's
Why
call-
is,
I think we should
I
call the
agree. I think
question.
enough
I think we
of
should
this.
call the question. There's a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor of Mike Savona for Township Solicitor, say aye.
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 Yeah, sold out in front of your
Aye.
family.
All opposed? The chair votes aye. Opposed?
nay.
The motion carries 4-1.
Very disappointed, very disappointed. Yeah, all 4 people in here are happy. Did you notice that? 4 people.
Next up is item F,
Sellouts.
alternate or conflict solicitor. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Patrick Armstrong of Grimby and Thatcher as the alternate solicitor.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. McPhillips. All in favor?
Now, would this be specifically for the Leary property?
Well, this will be for the Leary property, but well, we need to discuss this. Will this be for the Leary property only, or will this be for conflict, all conflicts?
Okay. Well, I mean, I say we specifically
Name for Leary, I agree.
name for Leary.
Yes.
So I'm going to need to change that motion. I'm going to need to make a motion for alternate township solicitor for the Leary property.
Right.
All right.
Make that motion.
Yes, I make a motion
For,
for to have the alternate
Armstrong.
for Patrick Armstrong to represent us for the Leary property with the conflict.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, where are we here? Okay, township engineer. Is there a motion to appoint a township consulting engineer?
I nominate Gilmore and Associates.
Gilmore and Associates. Is there a second for Gilmore and
I'll
Associates?
second that.
All in favor, Gilmore and Associates.
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carries. Okay. Township traffic engineer. Is there a motion for township traffic engineer?
I'll nominate Gilmore and Associates.
I'll second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of Gilmore and Associates for traffic engineer?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. I'm going to call it again. Is there a motion for township traffic engineer? I will nominate Joe Fiacco of Fiacco Engineering.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
3-2. Next up is Township Labor Council. Is there a motion for Township Labor Council?
I will nominate Ryan Cassie of Eckerd Siemens for Labor Council.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Township Planner. Is there a motion for Township Planner?
Make the motion to nominate Tracy Tackett of Tackett Planning Services for Township Planner.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Interim Township Manager. Is there a motion to appoint interim Township Manager?
I nominate Steve Wiesner.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carries. Supplementary Accounting Services at the rates formally submitted. Is there a motion?
No. I'll nominate Linda Majors of Major and Maestro for supplementary accounting services.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to appoint Township Manager Staff Designee as Recording Secretary? Can I make that motion? I'd like to appoint Megan Weaver.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second for Megan? I'm sure there's plenty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Opposed? None? 5-0 for Megan. All right, Megan. Is there a motion for special liaison to the YMCA Partnership Initiative?
I'll nominate Leo Quinn.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 5-0 for Mr. Quinn. That's good for Leo. Supplementary Accounting Services at the rates formally submitted. Oh, I already did that one. I'm sorry. I'm going down the way here. We're now on to boards and commissions.
I need to get the list.
The Vacancy Board. Is there a motion for Vacancy Board?
I'll nominate Ruth Ann Iden.
I'll second that motion.
Is all in favor for Ruth Ann Inen for the Vacancy Board?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
That was a 3-2 vote. Planning Commission, one person for voting member for the Planning Commission. Is there a nomination? Is there a motion?
Nominate Dave Hochschild.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The Planning Commission Citizen Advisors. Is there a motion for Citizen Advisors for the Planning
I'd
Commission?
like to nominate Steve Wojciechowski.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The chair
Aye.
votes aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
4-1, well, Mr. Wojciechowski. Is there another nomination, a motion for the Planning Commission Citizen Advisor?
Nominate Wayne McCullough.
Is there a second for Wayne McCulloch?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The Zoning Hearing Board. Is there a motion for voting member for 5-year term for the Zoning Hearing Board?
I'll nominate Scott DeRosa.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Chair votes nay. So I'm going to call the motion again. The Zoning Hearing Board, voting member. Is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion to nominate Jill Metzger.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye as well. Motion carries. Zoning Hearing Board, alternate. Is there a motion?
I'd like to nominate Scott DeRosa for alternate in the zoning hearing board.
I second that.
Is there a, we'll call the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Chair votes aye. 5-0. Warminster Municipal Authority Board, one position, 5-year term.
I'll
Is there
nominate George Lewis.
I'll second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Library Board, 4 positions. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Anna Peak.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed?
That's a yes.
Okay. Motion carries. That's second library board position.
I'd like to nominate Cynthia Jones.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Third library board. Is there a motion?
Wanda Kester?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes nay.
Nay.
I vote nay.
Is there a motion for the third?
I'd like to nominate Doug Mondell.
Is there a second for Doug Mondell?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
All in favor, Doug Mondell?
Aye.
Chair
Aye.
votes aye. Motion carries. And the last spot on the library board, is there a motion?
Mary Jane Cartwright.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Construction Board of Appeals, is there a motion?
I'll nominate Abe Kern.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion carries. We're on to the Park and Recreation Commission. These are the advisory committee. These are for 2 voting members. Is there a nomination?
I would like to nominate Judy Hoover.
I'd like to second that.
All in favor of Judy Hoover?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. For the second voting position on the Park Advisory, Recreation Advisory Committee, is there a motion?
I'd like to nominate Darlene Baker.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Motion carries. Citizen Advisors for Park and Recreation Committee, is there a motion?
How many are we doing?
We're doing 2, I believe. There's 3 available, but we only got 2 letters of interest. We'll be doing 2.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Charlie Morgan.
I'll
Only
second
one.
that.
You know, and being that we only had 2 other letters, why don't we just do it together and we can
I agree.
nominate Renee Strickland as well? Cover
Okay.
this in one motion.
I agree.
All
Is
right.
there a second for?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor of Charlie Morgan and Renee Strickland for Citizen Advisors to the Park and Rec Commission?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, now we're on to the Golf Advisory Committee. The Golf Advisory Committee, there are 2 voting members up and 2 citizen advisors. Is there a motion for the voting position for the Golf Advisory Committee?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Dom Visco.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Okay, that's for the 1 voting. For the second voting position on the Golf Advisory Committee, is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Anthony Manafo.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of Anthony Manafo for the second voting position?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Motion carries. 2 citizen advisors for the Golf Advisory Commission.
I'd like to
Being
make,
that there were only 2 others, we could probably bunch
Right.
these 2 into one motion as well.
I
Okay.
agree.
I'd like to nominate Carl Fineace and Dr. Albert Barenbaum. I hope I didn't mess those names up. My apologies.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Environmental Advisory Council. There's a name we haven't heard in a while. So I believe we did get some letters of interest for that. So is there a motion? These are for 5 seats. We got 3 letters of interest.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, there was an additional one that Mr. Wiesner just gave me tonight. Yes.
We did get that today.
So we have 4.
Right, and that did
Do you
come
want
out
me
today.
to just, we have 4 applicants. Do you want me just to list all 4?
Well, let me ask a question real quick.
Sure.
I don't mean, I see on our script, it's staggered terms. Do we have to nominate, I assume we have to nominate to a
We
specific
probably have to
term?
do this one at a time. Yeah, you're
Do?
correct. I
Okay,
stand corrected.
okay, all right.
No, you could do it tonight, but you just would nominate by the staggered terms. So the first person would be for the 3-year term, the second person would be for a 2-year term,
Let's-
third
Okay.
one 1 year, and then the fourth for a 3-year.
Okay.
You have to go in that order so that they're staggered
Oh, okay.
into the future.
Thank
Wanna
you.
just do them one at a
All
time?
right,
Is that
I'd like.
easier?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
For the 3-year
3-year term, is there-
I'd
is
like
there-
to nominate Andrew Dixon, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Carries. For the 2-year term,
I'd like to nominate Amy Sanchez Hamilton.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. For the one-year term, is there a motion?
I'd like to nominate Larry Menkes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome back, Larry, if you're happy, chair votes aye as well. There it is. Okay, and we had a letter of interest today, which we did accept. Is there, and that's for the 3-year term. For the fourth position, 3-year term. Correct? Am I reading that right, Steve?
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's right.
3 or 2 year. Yeah.
Right.
We have to go in that order, so they're
Right.
staggered.
3-year term, so,
Correct.
3-year term.
Is there a motion?
All right.
I'll make a motion to appoint Nicholas Hillman.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None, chair votes aye, motion carries. Environmental Advisory Council Chairperson, is there a motion for the chairperson of this committee?
I would like to make a motion to have Andrew Dixon as the EAC chairperson.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The IT committee, we did not get any letters of interest.
Right.
So I think at this time it's fair to table that
Right.
fine.
until a future date that we get a letter of interest. Do we need to-
Hopefully, some residents out there are interested in IT and would like to apply for the position.
Do we need a motion to table that?
That would be appropriate. You could make a
Where
motion.
were we? Okay, we are now at the Economic Development Committee, and this is broke down into 2 pieces because there are members of the committee that are appointed as citizens and business owners. So the first I'm going to call for is a nomination for the citizen. Is there a nomination for citizen advisor to the Economic Development Committee?
I nominate Tom Thurn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Another citizen vote. Is there a nomination for another citizen to that position?
I'd like to nominate Kurt DeFrio.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Next is the business owner part of it. Is there a nomination for a business owner to the Economic Development Committee?
I'd like to nominate Joe Bernert of Havas.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The Pension Investment Advisory Committee, and there are 2 nominees for this, or 2 letters of interest for these 2 spots. Is there a motion?
I'll nominate Tom Panzer.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
That's a 3-2 in favor. The second position for the Pension Advisory Board,
I'd like to nominate Rich Smythe.
Richard Smythe. Is there a second for Richard Smythe?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The chair votes aye. Motion carries. Any opposed? There was no opposed, right? Sorry. Okay. The next one up is the Ben Wilson Center Board of Directors, which we didn't receive any letters on. I don't know if there's any interest of board members that would like to serve on that. If there is,
Not at this time, thank you, Mr.
we
Chair.
can bring this up at a future meeting. We can table this for tonight and bring it up at a future meeting.
I'll serve on the Ben Wilson board.
If Dan would like to serve on that, is there a second for Dan?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, chair votes aye. And the second one, we can fill at a future meeting.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, appointment of supervisor liaison. Is there a motion for supervisor liaison to the planning commission?
I'll nominate Jason Crowley.
Do you want it?
Sure.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Okay, yeah.
Supervisor liaison to the zoning hearing board. Is there a motion?
I'd like to nominate Brian Monroe.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Supervisor liaison to the municipal authority. Is there a motion?
I'll nominate Mark McKay.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
You can't nominate yourself.
Again? I don't want to.
Just did.
Thank you. Is there a motion to appoint supervisor liaison to the library board?
I'd like to nominate Dan McPhillips.
Is there a second? I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and the chair votes aye. Motion carries. Supervisor Liaison to the Environmental Advisory Commission. Is there a motion?
I'd like to nominate Brian Monroe.
And I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Is there a motion to appoint a supervisor liaison to the Golf Advisory Committee? I'll take it. I'll nominate myself. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to appoint 2 supervisors to the Ball Field Advisory Committee?
Did we skip
Did I
Parks
skip
and Recs?
one? Did I miss one? Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Thank you,
Parks and
Teresa.
Rec.
Is there a motion to appoint supervisor liaison to the Park and Recreation Committee?
I would like to nominate Kathy Frescatore.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Is there a motion to appoint 2 supervisor members to the Ball Field Advisory Committee?
I would like to make a motion to nominate Kathy Frescatore.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Is there another motion to appoint another supervisor member to the Ball Field Advisory Commission?
Anybody interested?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on.
All right.
Okay?
Mark?
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to appoint 2 supervisor liaisons to the YMCA Partnership Initiative?
I'd like to nominate Mark McKee.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to appoint the second supervisor liaison
I'd
to
like to nominate Kathy Frescatore.
Kathy Frescatore? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to appoint 2 supervisor members to the Economic Development Committee?
I'd like to nominate Dan McPhillips.
And I'll second that.
I'll-
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair
Aye.
votes aye. Is there a motion to appoint the second?
I'll nominate Jason Crawley.
I'll
No.
second that.
Second that as well. Seconded by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to appoint 2 supervisor members to the Pension Investment Advisory Committee?
I'd like to nominate Brian Monroe.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Opposed? No opposed. The second member to the supervisor member to the Pension Investment Advisory Committee.
I'd like to nominate Mark McKee.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, now we get to the establishment of township depositories. Is there a motion to designate the First National Bank of Newtown as the township depository for the calendar year of 2016, or other institutions to invest in as may be deemed necessary for the best possible interest rates, including Bucks County Bank and TD Bank? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Jason, second?
I'll second.
Dan, seconded by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Set the treasurer's bond. Is there a motion to set the treasurer's bond at $2 million?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion carries. Number 7, establish the regular meeting schedule. Instead of reading through all these, I think we'll be staying the same at the first and third Thursday night. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, I should have got a motion in a second on that.
Well, no, just to point out, this actually is a change because in the summer, we are scheduling 2 meetings every month.
Right.
Where in previous years, we did not. So
Right.
I'll move for this schedule.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Set and affirm the calendar for the 2016 collective bargaining agreement township holidays, non-collective bargaining agreement township holidays. They are New Year's Day, Good Friday, Independence Day, Veterans Day, Day after Thanksgiving, President's Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Number 9, affirm the township meeting policy. Is there a motion to adopt the attached policy as a meeting policy for the calendar year of 2016? It was in all of our packets. We've read it, reviewed it. It's also available for the public.
So
Is
moved.
there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Designate of delegates to the PSATS convention. and appointing a voting delegate. Is there a motion to appoint a voting delegate?
I'd like to nominate Kathy Frescatore as our voting delegate.
Is there a second? I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Sorry, Kathy, can't vote no.
I was going to oppose it.
That one you should have opposed.
Too late. Okay, so now we're on to some new business, and this is all housekeeping. Is there a motion to approve?
Well, do we have to,
Whoop.
we have to do a motion to designate each supervisor and the manager as delegates, as regular delegates to the PSATs?
You can do that at this time if you'd like, or any time before April.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing it.
It was
this
part of,
time.
it's part of this,
Right.
it's sorry, it was just part of the same sentence. But
Okay.
you can do it separately, this is fine.
It's up to you.
Okay, okay. Is there a motion to designate each supervisor and the township managers as delegates to the PSATS Education Conference?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Chair votes aye. Okay, thanks for pointing that out. I thought we were doing that at a later date, but that's fine.
No problem.
Okay, new business. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016/01, setting the police officer's contribution to the pension fund?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016/02, setting the at-will employee contributions to the pension fund?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? No. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016/3, setting the Warminster Township's contribution to the defined pension contribution pension fund?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-04, setting the ASME Local 2289 employee contribution to the pension fund?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-05, setting the ASME Local 1598 employee contribution to the pension fund?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-06 to appoint Dunlop and Associates as auditors of Warminster Township for the year 2016-2018?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-07 to appoint the designated township representatives for the Bucks County Tax Collection Committee?
Motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-8 to appoint the township manager, the chief administrative officer of the police, and non-uniform pension plans?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And now we're on to our second round of public comment. Is there any comment from the public? Come on up.
I have a question. Now, this says it's for non-agenda, so, okay, I'll make now a Wawa question. That's not on the agenda.
Go right ahead, LM. I would have been disappointed if you didn't.
Okay, who is going to represent us when we have a problem now with Wawa? I know they have not been fined for the numerous violations. They were allowed to do many things, building, and everybody's turned their head, and they didn't do according to what they told the zoning board that they were doing. They did everything opposite. Mr. Savona was involved with all of this. Who is going to represent us, the residents, now that we have a problem?
Well-
Because we cannot have him do it honestly. He's got baggage.
I can
Yeah,
attempt
please
to
do,
answer if
Mr.
that's okay. At this time, Lanier, through your help, we have gotten a meeting that's scheduled, I think, for next week, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it on the 11th?
Well, we haven't heard anything yet.
Okay, it was either, it's next week, I know that.
Oh, I
don't
know
have
that,
it
but
right
it'd be
in-
nice to let the residents know so we could make sure we get off for work or time or when, because nobody's told us. And
Right.
this is what happens. We get told, oh, in an hour, we're going to meet. Well, that doesn't work
Not a
all the
problem.
time.
I thought the last time that you and I spoke, though, I thought you were going to be in contact with Wawa, but I'll check with them
No,
tomorrow.
they were to notify us when,
Okay.
when
And they
you and
haven't.
the
Wait.
township and them settled, but they
Okay.
have never notified us.
I gave them some dates, and
Yeah,
I
you
made
gave
it.
11th and 12th.
Right, and I made available our meeting room
Yeah,
like I said,
I know that, but they know that too, but nothing's come about. It's been about
not
a
a
month
problem.
and a
I'll call
half.
them tomorrow, and I'll tell you, we can call them together if you'd like. And they're still committed to one of those dates. I don't have it
And
right here
al-
in front of me.
I also asked them if those two people that gave the cards, and she said if the three couldn't come, she guaranteed me that two of them would be there. And so make sure that they're there. I think it's a John and a Brian.
Right. It's my understanding that they agreed to your terms, so.
Right, but I want to make sure they're there, that we get there and just don't find the one person.
Well, you've done great in this, Linaire. I'm giving you a lot of credit here because you were able to compel them to do this meeting. So I don't have the date right here in front of me. It's in the back. I thought there was a date, but if not, we'll call tomorrow morning and we'll get one.
Well, we just haven't heard any final, so we can't tell any,
Okay.
we can't make our plans because we haven't heard anything. It'd be nice to let us know since it's a week away.
You'll know.
Not you.
You'll know as soon as I know, and if you know before me, please tell me.
Okay. But the thing is, I still want to know, if we have problems, which we will, because even if they do some of the stuff, unless it's all guaranteed in writing, but who's going to represent us, the residents, the citizens of Warminster, when Mr. Savano cannot because he had a conflict of interest? And even here, read his testimony. I have it here.
well, even-
He wasn't told the truth.
Well,
And
Lynette,
also,
if
I'd
I
like to
may,
just tell, Mr. Feinberg came up and said something. Let him know. He was also the start of this. He stood there at your meetings going, "Oh, I can't wait for you, Wawa, to come in. I can't wait for your coffee. What did you want? Yes, you can have it. Yes, yes." So Mr. Feinberg was a big person
Lynette,
behind it.
If I may, whoever is the township solicitor, you have to recognize, no matter who it is,
Don't
that's.
laugh, rather.
Don't call me a liar.
I didn't call you a liar. I said
All right,
you
all
were
right, all
behind
right.
it. I said,
Let's-
"Don't laugh."
Let's keep this
He
moving.
doesn't
What's-
laugh behind my back.
Okay, but we're going to have that meeting, and I think we've made great progress recently with
Yeah.
your help. I think we're in the final lane on this one. I don't know
I
if
hope
that's
so,
the-
but
So-
if we're not, who is going to represent us
Well,
as the citizens?
Lanier,
And also,
there
why
is- the
don't we
township,
start
no
finding
matter-
them now?
No matter
Okay,
who
they'll
the
do.
township solicitor is, the township solicitor represents the board and the township. They will help facilitate. It doesn't matter who that
He
solicitor is.
did not represent the township, the residents at all the last time.
Yeah,
He
and
did not.
The solicitor cannot represent this town. Now, I'm not the township solicitor, but the solicitor doesn't
He was rude
represent.
to us.
Well, the solicitor doesn't represent the residents. It represents the township supervisors. We'll help facilitate that meeting, and I think we're going to be very successful in it. And I think we got to wait till that meeting happens. When
Yeah,
we
well, I
also-
just wanted to know here, with all of you here, who are you going to get when we have a
The
problem?
solicitor-
But the solicitor now that cannot represent, can you get somebody else in to act? Because he has a conflict. He should excuse himself.
Well, if
And
we
he
find
shouldn't
out that
excuse
there is a
himself
conflict
before
with
there's
it-
a conflict.
If there's a conflict, he will excuse himself.
He didn't before.
I wasn't on the board then when
Well,
I
it
can't
doesn't
answer for
matter.
you.
It's, you've inherited. And he was, and he knows he didn't excuse
Here's the thing to keep in mind. All solicitors act at the behest of their board. Whatever their board said in 2009, 2008, whatever, I don't. Mike Savona will know very well where we stand. He already knows very well where I stand, where Mr. McPhillips stands on Wawa. I assume I haven't gotten to talk to our new members yet.
And
He will execute in the way we ask him to, or a year from now, he won't be here.
Yeah, I mean,
It's that
that's why
simple.
I was
It's-
against him tonight.
I'm bringing him in
No, it's
to
because
get the
how he
job
treated
done.
us
And you've made your
before.
point, and we appreciate your point, believe me.
Yeah, but if he, so in other words, we have to work with him again, and he can put us down?
Lanier, we are so close at this juncture. I think we're closer than we've ever been. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, do anybody know a new Wawa opening? I'll go there.
And I'm sure they'll be glad to see you.
Oh, hey, listen, they've been nice since I met them. But it's just just for your information, I got hit tonight with a car coming out of Wawa.
Thank you for your
Told you
input.
it happened.
Any other public comment?
Tom,
Hello.
Hi.
Back again. Anita Cook, 911 Auto Lane. I know the budget's been out, but in the time it took me just to drive my husband home before we flipped and come back, I didn't get a chance to look at it. Can you tell me how much we spent last year in legal fees?
I can get back to you on that. I don't have that right in
That's
front of me.
sad that with all this discussion tonight over legal fees, we don't know
I
what we
guarantee you
spent.
right now, Ms. Cook, that based on the fees that we're saying here, our monthly bills for Grimby and Thatcher the last couple of months were in excess of $10,000 a month. So
And-
we were spending at least $120,000 to $150,000 over this past year.
And was that over budget
I believe it
of
was.
2015
was.
budget? What have we budgeted for 2016?
I can
And while
get
you're
all
looking,
that.
okay.
I don't have it right
Okay.
here in front of me,
Okay,
but I
well,
can
I'll be
certainly-
back.
No,
on
we'll
7.
get answers for you on that.
Yeah, I'll be back.
That's
Just,
fine.
That's a
and
fair question.
what is the proposed, I guess you got a list of all the possible conflicts. What are we going to be paying to East Burning Gray? What is that hourly rate?
$4,000
or-
retainer.
is it by meeting?
$4,000 retainer, which is for all meetings, correspondence,
Phone calls.
phone calls, staff meetings, emails from board members, which before we were paying hourly for that, by the way.
Okay. Oh, I know you were. I looked it up.
And then we'll be paying $155 per hour for service.
Okay, so
Above and beyond.
if it's not at a meeting and he has to go somewhere else, like have another meeting
If it's
with
above and
Williamstown
beyond that,
House
we will pay by the
Association,
hour.
We
Correct.
pay by the
Correct.
hour. Okay.
Now, any
Yeah.
work that's done on land development is billed to the developer's escrow.
I understand. That's
Right.
kind of what I do
The
for a
expense to
living.
the taxpayer.
Right. Okay. So in the event that he would have to recuse himself and East Burning Gray would have to recuse themselves, who will be representing the Board of
Well,
Supervisors?
the Leary Elementary is the only conflict that's
So
before
far.
us right now, and that will be Patrick Armstrong of Grim, Beam, and Thatcher.
So we're back to Grimby and Thatcher. That's ironic.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that you
they've
find that
already
out.
begun the hearing
Okay,
for that.
okay. And, oh yeah, I met
conditional
him.
use.
Yep. Okay, so after that's done, down the road, if there's something in
If there's a
April.
conflict, we will appoint
And who will
an
that be?
attorney at that point.
We don't know. We don't have like a guy on deck circle getting ready to
We
to
will.
jump in. Okay, and, all right, so let's see, so we don't have a secondary counsel appointed, it's just whoever we feel like at that time, who could also not have a conflict. We don't have an hourly rate for them because we don't know who they are, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and only, that you can only foresee once in the coming year that Mr. Savona will have a conflict.
Well, I'm
I'm
not
just
going
so
to
far.
swear on a stack of
So far,
Bibles, the
okay.
application that's before us.
Okay, and I don't know township requirements and laws in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but I'm sure you all do, because it's what you do. Don't you have to go out to bid for anything over $10,000?
Not for professional
Not for
services.
professional services. So it's, you guys can spend our money how you see fit. Is that correct? Just asking.
If you just look at the numbers that we just gave you.
I do
we're
numbers for a
saving-
living all day long. I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
So if we pay this $4,000 and $155 an hour, and God help us all, we hope it's not $10,000 a month down the road, in these future dealings with possible conflicts, we'll be paying above and beyond that, but at an hourly rate that we have no idea. Is that correct?
Wait a minute.
No, that's not necessarily the
Okay.
case. It could be the same hourly rate. It depends on who would be
Who you
appointed as a
choose.
conflict.
Right, but it might
Now,
not
Grim,
be.
Bean, and Thatcher's at the same rate at $155 an hour.
Okay, and then the one thing that was said was that this board wanted to move forward. Is that correct?
Mhm.
So you have appointed someone that you got rid of 3 years ago. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that's moving forward?
That's the definition of
Okay.
moving forward.
No, not in any dictionary I have, but thank you. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
I think I said a
I'll
different
be in
road.
touch.
Okay, thank you, Nino.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. Panzer?
Tom Panzer, Parmentier Road. I would have done this earlier at the beginning, but it's not an agenda item, so congratulations to the two new members of the board for earning the privilege to serve the Township of Warminster. I say earn because I know you both worked very hard, and I say privilege because it is a privilege, and I know you both know that. I think you also find it very rewarding. I know I did. Two, I want to thank the residents and voters of Warminster Township for helping me become the elected treasurer of Bucks County. I appreciate earning that privilege, and I look forward to serving in that capacity. I think working in the great Township of Warminster for a couple terms and a couple volunteer boards really helps lay a nice foundation for county government.
And Tom, with you as our county treasurer, I rest assured, and our finance department will definitely back me up on this, that Mr. Panzer dots every T, crosses every T and dots every I as far as finance goes. I know that, and I know that our people here, when you were here, as supervisor and treasurer.
I hope I can live up to that description in my new role. So thank you very much.
And
for the
I'm sure
compliment.
that you will. The people's money is very safe in your hands. That I know.
I appreciate that. And I want to congratulate Mr. Wiesner. He's on board for another stretch, however long that stretch might be. So we're lucky to have you. And on a final note, I want to thank the board for reappointing me to the Pension Advisory Committee. And I will represent all the townships in that advisory capacity. You are the deciders, but thanks for letting me participate. So have a good night.
And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Congrats.
Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment? Seeing none. Next up on the agenda is the Township Manager's announcement of upcoming meetings, which we have this coming Thursday night.
Yes,
will be our first
to
business
all,
meeting.
we still are having our regular meeting this Thursday, 7 o'clock, same place. And it's a relatively light agenda, but there are a few items on there. The one in particular that I'd like to mention is the continuation of the Weiss Market conditional use application. That will commence again on the 7th. And then after that, the next meeting would be coming up in February.
Okay. The next up is the supervisor comments. Mr. Monroe.
It's a privilege to sit up here, and you know, I'm excited because, you know, this is, since we got elected, there's members of this board that have reached out to us. You know, we went up to a PSATS class for newly elected supervisors a few weeks ago, and to be honest with you, we didn't need it. And the reason why we didn't need it is because members of the board here were kind enough to get us up to speed. Mr. Wiesner was able to get us up to speed, so I'm excited, and I'm definitely excited about the chemistry of this board. So it's we're going to do the right things.
All right. Ms. Frescatore.
I am honored and privileged to serve all of our residents in this township. I've been serving our township now for 33 years, and I will continue to serve as my new role as your new supervisor. And we will do the right thing. Our board is moving in the right direction. We will work together to bring our township into the new era. And thank you for your confidence.
Mr. McPhillips.
Yeah, I just want to welcome Kathy and Brian. I look forward to working with you guys, and I want to congratulate Mr. McKee for being the chair. And I look forward to a positive and productive 2016.
Mr. Crowley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, my congratulations to Brian and Kathy. I look forward to hearing your ideas and taking the zest at which you guys knocked on doors and applying it to municipal government. I'm sure you'll get a lot done. It is truly a great privilege to serve on this board, and you'll find that 95% of this stuff you can do as a supervisor really is terrific stuff. You really get to make a difference. So congratulations on earning this shot, and best of luck, and I look forward to working with you guys. Congrats to Mr. McKee on his, being elected chairman, and I alluded to it at the last meeting, and Mr. McKee mentioned it briefly at the beginning of this meeting, but I would also like to just take a moment to recognize the efforts of Dan McPhillips over the past 2 years as chairman of the Warminster Board of Supervisors during a time which there was a lot of challenges put in front of us. Mr. McPhillips was here day in, day out, worked tirelessly for this town. He loves this town, and I don't think anybody could have handled the storm like he did. So I appreciate all his efforts, and thank you, Dan. That's all I
I
got.
just want to welcome you, and I look forward to working with you and the rest of the board. That you know, we are a split board if you want to look at party, but I don't look at letters on the end when we're in this building. We work together as board members, and I'm looking forward to doing that. I got to ask you though, Dan, you got to be relieved that the 2 years is over. You got to be. Because I'm sure. And once again, I said it earlier in the meeting, and I want to thank Dan again, because I know he put a lot into being chairman of this board, and I'm sure it was not easy. So that's the only comment I have. I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. McPhillips.